What if I told you that the absolute biggest difference between the rich and the poor actually has very little to do with how much they earn, but is entirely about how they think about money? It's a totally different mindset. I mean, every single day, millions of people work incredibly hard, right? Yet they stay broke. Meanwhile, other people are literally making money while they sleep. So, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the definitive money blueprint. We're getting into the core financial principles our schools completely failed to teach us. Because let's be real, knowing that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell doesn't exactly help you pay your mortgage.
So I really want you to ask yourself this. What if income doesn't equal wealth? We are totally conditioned to believe that chasing a higher salary is the only logical path to financial freedom. But, if that were actually true, why do so many high earners find themselves completely trapped in a cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck stress? We really need to break down our preconceived notions about this right here, right now.
All right, so here's the exact blueprint we're going to build today. 1. The biggest financial lie. 2. Assets versus liabilities. 3. The power of time. 4. Protecting your money. 5. Growing your wealth. And lastly, 6. The wealth mindset.
Okay, to build a solid house, you've got to clear out the bad foundation first, right? So, Section 1. The biggest financial lie. Demystifying income.
There is this massive, widespread myth out there that goes a little something like this. If I just earn more money, I'll become rich. Actually, scratch that. It is entirely false. Believe it or not, thousands of doctors, professional athletes, celebrities, and highly successful business owners have gone completely bankrupt despite earning millions of dollars. Why? Because income alone does not create wealth. Period. Your financial future doesn't depend solely on what you earn, it depends on what you keep, what you invest, and what you grow. The wealthy don't just earn money, they make their money work for them.
So now that we've cleared that up, let's move right into the framing of our house. Section 2. Assets versus liabilities. This is literally the most important lesson in finance.
The core difference that dictates who gets ahead and who falls behind is actually remarkably simple. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's the fundamental difference right there. When wealthy people make money, they use it to buy assets, things that act like little 24-hour employees working around the clock to generate even more cash. But when poor or middle-class people make money, they tend to just buy liabilities.
Think of your wealth builders as your 24/7 workers. We're talking stocks, rental properties, businesses, royalties, dividend investments, the whole shebang. On the flip side, your wealth drainers are the things we absolutely love to finance. Expensive cars with hefty loans, crushing credit card debt, luxury purchases, high-interest personal loans. Poor people buy liabilities. Rich people buy assets first.
Now, once you actually have those assets, you need to understand the environment they live in. Let's hit Section 3, the power of time, looking at compound interest and inflation.
So, Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Just pause and think about that for a second. With compound interest, you aren't just earning money on your original investment. You're earning money on your previous gains. Now, at first, growth might seem incredibly slow, kind of like pushing a giant boulder up a steep hill. But eventually, your investments begin generating returns that generate even more returns. It feeds itself. This is exactly why people who start investing early almost always build massively greater wealth than those who invest much larger amounts later in life. Time is absolutely your greatest financial advantage.
But time definitely has a dark side, and that's inflation. Just imagine you hide a stack of cash under your mattress for 10 years. A decade later, the actual numerical amount is exactly the same, right? But the purchasing power, what that money can literally buy, has significantly decreased because prices naturally rise over time. Inflation basically guarantees that idle cash is going to lose its real value. And this is exactly why simply saving large amounts of cash long-term is a losing game. Your money has to grow faster than inflation.
All right, we know how to plant the seeds of wealth, but we definitely have to protect them from life's unpredictability. Section 4. Protecting your money through budgets, emergencies, and debt. Look, budgeting isn't some financial straitjacket where you just give up everything you enjoy. Not at all. Just consider the 50-30-20 framework. That's 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, and 20% for saving and investing. Budgeting actually gives you control. The goal here isn't rigid, flawless perfection. The goal is consistency. Even small monthly savings structured exactly like this are going to grow significantly when invested wisely.
Now, financial experts commonly agree on a magic number here, and that's 3 to 6.
You need to build an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses. Because, well, life is wildly unpredictable. Job losses, medical emergencies, your car engine suddenly blowing up, these things happen. And without this safety net, unexpected expenses force people into incredibly expensive debt. This number right here, this is your ultimate shield for financial stability and just absolute peace of mind.
And hey, speaking of debt, we really need to clarify something because not all debt is harmful. Let's contrast good debt versus bad debt. Good debt is leverage. It helps create future income. So we're talking about strategic business loans, education that demonstrably increases your earning potential, or real estate that brings in rental income. Bad debt, on the other hand, that finances things that rapidly lose value while chaining you to suffocating monthly payments. Truly understanding this distinction is absolutely crucial for your long-term financial health.
All right, with our defenses set, let's go on the offensive. Section 5. Growing your wealth through diversification and mindful investing.
The average millionaire does not rely on just one single paycheck. They build multiple income streams. Think a salary, maybe a side hustle in freelancing, steady investments, dividend payouts, rental properties, online businesses, digital products. Why go through all that trouble? Because diversification heavily reduces your financial risk. If one of these sources slows down or completely dries up, the others keep the machine running and they keep paying you.
But as you grow those streams, you've got to be incredibly careful not to confuse investing with gambling. Gambling depends almost entirely on luck. It's driven by emotional decisions and this kind of desperate expectation of getting rich overnight. Real investing is the complete opposite. It's the long-term ownership of productive assets. Successful investors research carefully, they diversify, they stay intensely patient, and they avoid those emotional traps. They are thinking in years and decades, definitely not in days.
And finally, we reach the roof of our blueprint. Section 6, the wealth mindset, which is really your ultimate asset.
The richest people on Earth are obsessed with continuous learning. I mean, they are constantly reading books, picking up new skills, deliberately networking with successful people. They take the time to truly understand how taxes work, and they rigorously study businesses. And they do all this because they know a profound truth. Your absolute greatest asset isn't the cash sitting in your bank account right now. It's your relentless ability to create more value.
There's this great old saying, the best time to build wealth was years ago. The second best time is today. Financial freedom is not a lottery ticket, and it sure doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistent habits, smart, disciplined decisions, and continuous learning. You don't need to start with millions. You just simply need to start.
Money is merely a tool. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, you really have to ask yourself, as you look at your own personal blueprint, are you going to let money control your life, or will you take the steps today to ensure you control it?